In all, the EPA alone gets more than $40 billion in this bill, including more than $30 billion for so-called disadvantaged communities. What are those? Well, they're not really defined. People who vote for Joe Biden. So what it really means is the EPA is going to spread more identity politics and race hate. Are you sick of that yet?
That is Tucker Carlson actually addressing the historic climate change bill that was recently passed in Congress and signed by President Joe Biden. But he's addressing it in a very specific way. I think you heard the words race hate. That's right. Tucker Carlson is taking issue with a very particular stipulation in this unprecedented climate bill, which is that there's going to be money spent on most affected communities, which are disproportionately Black and brown Americans who live near, I don't know, toxic sites, paper mills, things like this. The White House estimates the law includes $60 billion in spending on so-called environmental justice. That includes money to reduce emissions around US ports, plant trees in city neighborhoods that are hotter because of past racist housing policies, making electric vehicles more affordable, and installing solar panels to make buildings more efficient in low-income neighborhoods. But that, of course, means it's racist against who? White people. Again, the thing that doesn't actually exist. So that is Tucker Carlson literally saying race hate, and it gets a little bit worse. Let's watch the rest of that clip.
The total annual budget of the EPA currently stands at about $10 billion. So this is a lot of money flowing to equity and the disadvantaged. And of course, everything hangs on definition. So who gets to define what disadvantaged is, a disadvantaged community? Well, that would be the EPA's administrator, a guy called Michael Regan. This is a guy who's in his late 40s who has never had an actual job in his life. He's never worked for real business of any kind. But he does have priorities, and to give you some sense of what they are, we'll tell you what he told The Daily Show this year, and we're quoting. Everything I do at EPA is through the lens of environmental justice. Contracting, procurement, air quality, water quality, land management starts with, are we protecting the least among us, those who have lacked political representation and those who have not been at the table for decades, end quote. So really, this is about spreading race hate, as virtually everything they do is. They call it equity. It's not about protecting the environment.
Again, race hate, straight up saying it. By the way, Michael Regan, current EPA head, is a Black man, and he was the head of North Carolina's Department of Environmental Quality. He has had a job before, you racist POS.
I recently came across a conspiracy theory involving Starbucks that has me a little bit worried, actually. Ray Brown spread this. It says, we're going cashless, you can see in this photo of a Starbucks sign. From the 1st of October, 2022, we will only be accepting card, contactless, and Starbucks rewards payments. So he's not worried about that. He doesn't buy overpriced burnt coffee, which is the part of this story where I agree with him. I think their coffee does taste burnt. I don't understand why it's so popular. But the thing about the cashless payment isn't just that that might be inconvenient. No, they think it goes way beyond that. Some users are arguing on social media that the announcement was linked to the book of Revelation in the Christian Bible, which claims that the mark of the beast system will force the world into a cashless society. Yes, apparently the presence of cash is very important. Jesus, as we all know, was a big fan of cash. Doesn't like cards, really. He wants you to have coins and bills. Anyway, they say Starbucks blazing the trail towards a cashless mark of the beast society. They don't care about their customers, but they do care about pushing a dishonest and unethical agenda. There are plenty of coffee shops around. Time to put them out of business. One guy says, clog up their stores and drive-thrus, place an order, and then walk away or drive through when they won't accept your cash. I've done it a few times at McDonald's. I don't know, is McDonald's cashless? I don't know, but this guy apparently has so much time that he can just sit in a drive-thru to not get food. I don't understand it. Now, look, obviously, Starbucks is not trying to begin the mark of the beast or whatever. But what's funny about this conspiracy theory is that they're sort of onto something. Yes, Starbucks does just care about money. First of all, they're not going cashless. This is like one store in the UK. They didn't think about this literally at all. It's honestly not happening. But going cashless, there are places that have decided to do that, and that is actually a problem for many people. Not everyone has a credit card or a debit card. There are many people who are unbanked. In fact, millions and millions of Americans, and this effectively pushes them out of that section of the economy when businesses go to cashless. And also, like they're focusing, Jessica, on this unethical business practices of Starbucks, but they're focusing on like conspiratorial Bible stuff. Is there anything legitimate, unethical going on at Starbucks that you think maybe they could spend their time on if that's what they're going to be worried about?
Well, John, I'm pretty sure that the old religious texts, when they wrote that they needed, a cashless society, the prophecy foretold Apple Pay. They knew this was going to happen. And we need fintech for Jesus, actually, more financial technology for Jesus. No, of course, Jesus doesn't want people purchasing products and coffee to be less accessible for the common man. Many people can't get access to credit cards. They don't have iPhones for the Apple contactless pay. This is oppression of working and poor people who only can use cash. So no fintech for Jesus.